Yes. So let's try to understand together that when someone moves from one location to another, or the circumstances change, what are the things they go through? So here is the question for you guys, and please participate in this discussion so we can learn from varied experiences and different thoughts. I think it will be very useful for our discussion for international human resource management, which we would start shortly. But before that, I want to ask you this question, that think about whenever you moved your location, like for example when you were younger, maybe school, you are in one school but you changed your school because of anything, because of maybe parents moved from one city to another, or something happened like that, so you had to move your school, or you had to move your hostel, or you had to go through the changes of of the people who were living with you in hostels. New people came in, so what happened there? If you changed your city, your accommodation from one place to another, what really happened there? If you change your jobs, yeah. So what I'm trying to understand is that when you make those type of changes in your lifestyle, what are different type of challenges you think you had to go through, and how did you deal with them? It can be, it can be different things. So for example, in one of the discussions, one of our friends mentioned uh, that no, it was not a discussion. I think I was speaking with the friend, and they mentioned that they were in one country and they had to move to another country, and in the first country where they were, uh, on Sundays the shops were open, but in the new country where they moved, the shops were not open on Sunday, so they had to make adjustments for that, like rearrange the works which they would do on Saturday and Sunday, just to buy basic necessities. In international trade, international human resource, these type of things would happen many times, like you would have to relocate, you have to go from one place to another, but that makes an impact on the lifestyle. So maybe we have not had that type of experience yet, but all of us have moved from one place to another. Maybe you had some type of internship abroad. Maybe you are here in Germany from some other country, so you moved from one country to another. Maybe through traveling, you are traveling from different countries just for fun. And what were the differences? If you think you had to stay for a longer period of time in one country, what changes you would have to bring in your lifestyle or something like that? So again, let me put the question again, that whenever any type of changes of location, circumstances, these type of things happen with you, what were those changes like? What were they? What did you do to mitigate, minimize those obstacles, challenges, whatever they were? Were you successful? Were you not successful? What were your feelings, emotions? What were the things you were going through? And link it with the previous discussion. I hope you are aware that today is our last session. Can link it with the previous things and other courses and your experiences and what you think about that and so on. So this type of dialogue is going to help us relocation which human resource management has to go through in international trade. So we are drawing from your personal experiences, and you will get to hear from all other people. So I really encourage people who there are people who always are vocal and they are participating, but I encourage other people to, all of us should say something, and without worrying about, the participation score or whatnot, you will be fine for that. Yeah, so just, say what you have to say. Don't be shy. No one is going to, say anything bad to you. You will get you will get some experience of how to engage and how to speak in using the microphone and this type of facility. So please, please go ahead and say what you have to say. Yes, please.
So in my opinion, like the biggest difference when you move somewhere new or when you take a new job or you go abroad is that you don't know anybody where you're going usually, or very few people. And the most important thing is to build up a social surrounding for yourself. Otherwise, you will get very lonely. I did my internship in Stuttgart, which is also in Germany, but it's not too far away from where I live. So for me to connect with the people there wasn't that difficult. But in my internship, I heard the story about an expat who was going to the USA, and he didn't really like it there. And the people from the company, they had no idea why he didn't like it, because usually when people go abroad as expats, they do this because they enjoy it and all that stuff. And afterwards, they asked the colleagues in the USA about this person and tried to figure out why he didn't like it. And then it turned out that he never went to any social gatherings. He just stayed for himself there, and so he had no ability to build a social surrounding for himself, and that's why he didn't like it. And I think that's the most important point, that you connect to people when you're some, otherwise you will just be lonely and kind of sad.
What a beautiful commentary, Jonas. Excellent. You really did wonderful job in explaining this and sharing this example with us. So please, all of us, please make note of what Jonas has explained us, and he very nicely he linked it with the example where maybe the job was fine. Maybe the guy was passionate about the job. Maybe he was very good in the job. Maybe the company was good. Maybe the salary was good. Everything was fine. But you go to new location after work, you have no one really to speak with. You kind of get lonely. You are like, in the back home, you have your friends. You knew the environment. This is a new place. You don't know anyone. That social networking is not there. So as an international trade, as an international business management, we really need to think about these things, like when we are moving these people, expats, and we will also talk about repatriation, repats. Later on, Jonas explained us what expats are. So we need to think about these things, like how to create the environment for them that they feel socially included. Otherwise they will not like their job. And I really liked the example which Jonas gave, and thanks again for that, because he's explaining that the company could not really figure out what is going on, like what is wrong. We are giving him a accommodation, maybe we are giving him bonuses, allowances, all those type of things, but why the person is not enjoying. So that big factor is missing, that social networking and all those type of things. So this is a key point in international human resource management, and I'm very happy that early on in the conversation Jonas was able to bring this across. Wonderful job. Yes, please.
So I would like to mention that, yeah, sometimes when you move to another place, you can experience the so-called cultural shock at some time, especially at the beginning. So it takes a few weeks until you really get used to the new culture. And yeah, for example, when I did my exchange semester in an Asian country, for me, the food culture was the most difficult aspect. So the food is more spicy than in Germany, and yeah, so these are all the little things that yeah, kind of connect to this cultural shock. And yeah, you can obviously link that to the second chapter we discussed within the course about national differences. So yeah, it's kind of important that you be aware of that and that you prepared for it when you move to another place.
Excellent point again. Wonderful job, Veera. And think about these things. And I'm very happy that you guys are not just talking about the theoretical part. You are giving examples, and that was the spirit of this course. We are not interested in theory. Theory people can read. They are in the books. We want to link that theory with the practical, real life experiences, examples which we have gone through, maybe outside of international trade. So I really thank Veera for that. Think about these pointers. Very like food, like you have grown up to be familiar with the food. You now, it is not that which food is better and which food is, you are just accustomed to a particular type of food, particular rate of spices, and so on and so forth. So in the new environment, how you are going to find that, it can happen for different, so for example, I am Muslim, yeah. I can link my example in this. So when I go to some place, I need to look for like the like the food is, for example, halal. Is the halal food available? For example, for Jews, they call it kosher. So is kosher available or not, and so on, yeah. So you have to be sensitive about these things. uh, so food is quite a thing, because food is something we have to eat like every day, yeah. If even if you are not eating every day, every other day, you will have to find something to eat, something nice to eat, and that is important, like food, like shelter, your home where you are going to live, clothing, are you comfortable with the clothing? In other words, the temperature of the country, and so on. For example, last year when I got the chance to come in Europe and visit couple of countries, and I came in summer, yeah, in summer I came, and I came in summer, and I was feeling cold. So think about it, if I have to come in winter, what is going to happen to poor me, yeah. So that type of thing you have to, so you have to consider those things. So it is not just the job alone in international trade. When you will be hiring for international resource, you would have to think about this, because people who are eager to come to your country, if someone is eager to come to, Finland or Sweden or Germany or Denmark or Belgium or wherever, and they are coming from developing country, in the interview and those type of processes, they are going to say yes, yes, we will be fine, don't worry about us, please call us, and we are going to come, all of that thing. But then will they be able to adjust to these type of things which our friends are mentioning or not? We don't know that. Can we just bring them for a couple of days so they can experience? Yes, we can, but that is very, 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 very expensive, especially in the case that how many people you will be able to bring in, uh, how many days they will be able to stay, yeah. So all those type of things you would want to think about. Very important. Culture shock, that is a term, culture shock. Although personally speaking, I never had a culture shock. So I have been to various countries which are totally, opposite to each other. And for that I can maybe make a point also, maybe a little later on, how different they are. So but I personally never had a culture shock. Yes, cultures are different and so on, but maybe it is my personality that I did not got a shock. Some things do feel strange in certain cultures, but I think that that is the way they have been doing things. And if you are not comfortable with one culture, then well, you can find some other culture where you are a better, and so on. So that type of mindset I go in with. But as Veera has said, that culture shock is a real thing. People do get that. Yeah. So I understand and appreciate, or maybe appreciate is not the right word. I see that this can happen. So you now need to think about that if someone comes in, and after all the paperwork and all the hassle, they come in, and they get culture shocked, they would want to go home. Your investment on them is gone bad. Yeah. So you have to be very good with human beings, like what, not just the words, reading between the lines, understand human psychology, testing properly that the person is right fit for the job. That's very important. As a matter of fact, you have basically, you have won the game in life if you have right fit. Basically in anything, think about it. If the fit is right, you have won the game. It's the fit, like a shoe. If the shoe is fit and you are comfortable with it, you are fine. Yeah, you can go the miles you want to go. But if the shoe is very fancy and beautiful and all those type of things and expensive, whatever, but it is not right fit, yes, people will praise it and everything, but you're not comfortable in that shoe. Yeah. Very good examples our friends are giving. So yes, keep on going. Thanks.
Okay, so I nearly spent 1 year in Czech Republic to study in Prague, and I have been also facing a lot of challenges. But just to give one example, I think it was the first time when I went to a supermarket, and this was really challenging for me because a lot of older Czech people do not speak English at all, so there was this language barrier. And also, like, the currency is different in Czech Republic, so everything seemed to me super expensive. So I had to calculate everything
Yes.
into euro to get a feeling
Yes.
for the price.
Yes.
And also, like, the attitude of the Czech people was at the beginning super strange to me because they are a little bit cold and they keep their distance. And at the beginning, I was like, okay, did I something wrong? But after some months, I realized it's just their behavior and it's just normal for them. So, yes, that was my experience.
Yes, very good. Thanks for that. I think, Anna, you also lived or went to other countries. Tell us about that also, if you can. And this Czech Republic example is very, very nice, like the distance and all those type of things. Because although you will understand that, this is their way of doing things, but if you are someone who like to hug and shake hand and, whatever you like to do when you meet people, if the other culture is not that, you will be okay with that because it is not their culture, but it's not you, it's not your thing, it's not, you won't be able to relate with it the way you would have if the cultural practices were same in this. Yes, Anna, please go ahead if possible.
Yes, for example, I spent some months in Thailand. So this was, for me, this was really a culture shock, especially in Bangkok, because everything was so big. And like I was used to the German streets, which are really clean and everything. And in Bangkok, it was kind of dirty and different. There was a different smell and everything. So it was, at the beginning, it was just unusual for me. And then I also spent some time in Australia, and there the people are like really open-minded and really lovely, and they are happy to have you here. So this was also different. Yes, I think that was my experience.
Yes, very good, very well. You have wonderful experience, and thank you very much for sharing your thoughts throughout the week. We really appreciate that, because you are sharing the time you spent in those, and you are sharing intimate things. Like, for example, you are really sharing with us, like when you went to Thailand, for example, and there is no disrespect for Thailand. We are just trying to understand what is happening. Thailand is a wonderful country, beautiful country. They have so many good things, but there is one thing which is maybe not so good, that the roads are maybe not as clean as we are used to in Europe, maybe some countries. Yes, same you can talk about, Pakistan. Maybe there are some places you will go and you will find them not very very nice and clean. Same for India, same for Jamaica, maybe. Yeah, these are developing countries, so there are issues with that. So before you are taking someone from a developed country to a developing country, for example, you need to think about these things. Like, for you, that smell is fine because you have grown in that. For your nose, it is not bothering you. But for someone else, it might bother them. Yeah. So these things are just, you highlight these things. And then after that, if someone wants to, a lot of people go to these countries to work and, but it should not be something like this, that people get shocked, just like our last friend said, culture shock. You go there and you get shocked that you did not expected that. Yeah. So that is why expectations, you have to manage them, and generally in life also, anyone who has lot of expectations from life and whatever is happening around them, generally speaking, a lot of expectations, or they think so highly about themselves, and they feel that the world should treat them in a certain way, their life, generally speaking, is not a happy life. Less the expectations, happier the life is. I'm not saying that we should not have expectations. Of course, expectations and aspirations and dreams and all of those things, they are very important to achieve anything in life. But generally, you will see that bad management of expectations, that is the cause of, generally speaking, in for unhappiness and so on and so forth. Very good, excellent, Anna. Thanks for that. Next one, please.
So when I moved, it was always that in the beginning it was so hard to get like from one point to another because you needed to get the whole transportation system, and everything was such a hassle kind of because you needed to put on Google Maps for everything. And like honestly, when I was in Asia, in Taiwan, and then used the transportation system, it was such a struggle because all of the Asian words, and it was so hard to pronounce and to check if you're even at the right train station right now. And I felt really at home when I could get from one point to another without using Google Maps, for example, because I then really felt like I know the city and felt like home. Because, I mean, in a place where I've been for 3 to 4 years, I know from how to get from A to B without putting on Google Maps, and that really like gave me the feeling of being home when I could just get around without being stressed out and just know to take what kind of subway and where this subway arrives and stuff like that.
Very good, excellent point. And I can personally relate with this. Let me tell you a quick story that when I traveled, for example, last year, essentially my culture growing up in Pakistan and also in Jamaica, what I am used to is if I lose direction, I would ask someone. Like, and we all lose, direction. Even in the cities we live, if we want to go to some place new which we have not gone, and we can miss a street or two or something like that can happen. So I am in the habit of and I like that, I will ask someone and have a little conversation, and I enjoy that. So when I went to certain countries in Europe, and I don't want to name, and also in Asia, I also got chance to go to Asia, and I saw that in some cultures, they were the technology was too much in that everyone who would lose their way, they would just look using technology, using internet, Google Maps, our friend is saying, and they will just find their own way. So when I asked, a couple of people in those type of societies, they gave me a look like, I am coming from some strange place. Like they were, their eyes were asking me, don't you have like a smartphone and a Google Map, and can't you just check for yourself? They did not say it, but that was the body language and all of that. That is, maybe that was not their intention, but that is what I read, that is what I understood. uh, uh, so you have to think about that also. I think we touched that in couple of conversation, that it is not about intention. It is not about your intention. It is how other people are perceiving you. Sometimes sometimes that is more important than what your intention was. So you have to be very mindful that how people are perceiving you, how they are reading this. That is far more important than your intention. Your intention can be good, but the other person is thinking that you are not helping them. What you are going to do with intentions? But nevertheless, intentions do show. So having good intentions is important. But I'm just trying to add that perception, how people perceive, and you can't do much about that. Perception is their own perception. You can do what you want. They are going to perceive you the way they want, the way they have brought up. So whole lifestyle there, what has been their experience, they come into play. So thanks for that point. Yes, Russia.
Hello. I moved from Russia, St. Petersburg, to Germany, to Würzburg. Now I'm studying here, and I would like to say that you need to be prepared mentally, as your mind needs to absorb new culture, its ethics, social norm, like also laws, and all these rules. And firstly, when moving from a big city, we have around 7 million people, to a small one where I live now, I thought it would be very boring, and I was like confused. But then, and also like that they work till 8, everything works only till 8. They have, because in St. Petersburg everything is working 24 hours. But then I realized that this city is really cozy and nature is amazing and it has fresh air and everything. And if you want to go somewhere, you're like in the center of Europe, you can go anywhere you want. And people here are really nice because they are smiling. In big cities, you won't see it because mostly they are minding their own business. But here you feel like in more, I don't know, comfortable place. Yeah. And also they are working here. It was like interesting fact for me about Germany that they are working around some people work 3 hours per day and they have the same salary as people in Russia for 12 hours a day. I understand that it's because of like economic situation of the country, but still it was quite confusing for me. Yeah.
Thanks for that. And please also tell us that thing about the different type of boss behaviors in Russia and Germany and the flowers, even and odd numbers, those type of things, if you can.
Yeah, I wrote it in my essay. Like for example, in Russia we have in our offices we have one head, and all the final words he needs to say them, and he won't speak to others to make a decision, his own decision. But in European countries, all the decisions are making all together in groups. Also, I understood it in the university because in my home country university, like you work only on your own and you mostly think only about yourself, your marks. But here, working in a group was really nice as everyone is working. And I had never been in a group where no one works. So it's really nice, I think. And it's a good thing for work and maybe for business too. More ideas, better solutions.
Thanks very much to our Russian friend. She really shared great information with us. We are very thankful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to add to the point our friend said about networking. So, from my experience abroad, long-term experience, like long-term stays, I figured that it's really important to, yeah, make a network or create a network in the local culture, not with your fellow exchange students or fellow country people. So, for that, which was always helpful for me was to be in an environment where I feel really comfortable in. So for me, that was the gym. I really like to work out. So every time I'm in a new country, I try to get a gym membership, and then inside the gym, it is easier to me to approach, yeah, people. And yeah, I was most successful in yeah, making friends from the local culture in the gym than, for example, at university.
Great point. And this is what happens, we can all relate with this, especially those who go to gym and that type of that type of things. Looking at my muscles, I'm sure you guys know that I don't go to gym, but I have heard that a lot of times that people say that they can bond with similar type of people, and some people would network on a bar, some people would network on the lobbies of restaurants and hotels, so different ways. So these type of things, maybe companies need to think about this in international human resource management also. We'll talk about that in a bit. Yes, please.
Okay, when moving or traveling to another country, I think everyone knows that there will be a lot of changes, but still everyone has usually a plan they want to stick to. And I think it's really important that you keep a more flexible mindset, because this means less problems when things don't go as planned, because usually there are a lot of last minute changes and you need to adapt to them. And if you try always to stick with your plan, this can complicate things. So therefore, what I have learned for myself is to be more flexible. And this helped me to adapt to new situations and environments. And also an example of this is when I was traveling in Asia with a friend. We met some really nice people in Thailand, but the new people flew to Vietnam 3 days later. Our visa for Thailand would have also expired with the next days, and then we originally planned to go to Cambodia, but then we spontaneously joined the other group and flew also to Vietnam, which was in the end a really great decision. And I'm really happy we did not stick to our plan. So what I think, or what I always say when traveling to another country, is to be flexible.
Yeah, very excellent point. You really have it right. Like, it's no matter how much you plan and all those things, you have to have that flexibility in the personality. So now you have to think about this. Like, who would be good in international human resource? A person who has this thing, like, is flex. Yes, you want to do things the way you plan and all those things. That is fine. Things should go most of the times as we plan, but it is the nature of changing places that you would have to show some type of flexibility. So in that, if your personality does not have flexibility, then, like, you have to ask yourself right now, are you generally a flexible person, or you have some rigidity in your personality? So you will find out that, generally speaking, people are neither flexible nor rigid. They are, in some situation they are flexible. With certain people they are flexible. In other situations they are rigid. With certain people they are rigid. So if that is true, you can make your own conclusion. I think that is true, so that is why I'm sharing. But it is not binding thought. You have to think with your own mind and thoughts and experience. But my experience is that if someone is not flexible with you, maybe you have to change your approach. Because think about it. uh, if you like someone and you are you enjoy the trust of someone or something like that, you are flexible for them. You make adjustments for them. Think around, think in your life, people you like, how do you make adjustments for them? And people you don't like, even if you can make some adjustments, you will end up saying, oh, it is not possible, or something like that. So that is very good. Thanks, Hannah, for contribution.
So I will just share my small personal experience when I moved to Germany when I was in 7th grade. So it was very much it was a different shock for me because it was completely different culture and different people. And I couldn't speak the language as well. Even though I was in an international school, I had the advantage was I got to meet a lot of people from different countries at one time. But the disadvantage was I didn't know, because some people, like, they are very open, they come to talk to you themselves, and some are very reserved. So that's also a cultural factor. And the companies usually, when they hire, they send employees to another country or on another sub project, they usually ask the employees if their families are very flexible enough to adjust in other countries. So that's also a point, because if no matter how much money you give to the employee, if their families don't adjust, he will end up coming back. So that's what I think.
Oh, excellent, Pradhan. Very good. When you came to Germany, um, in seventh class or seventh grade, uh, did you miss your friends back home, or you are okay with that?
When I had hard times making friends, I was missing my friends back home, but my dad had already told me there was no going back so soon, so I had to adjust myself to the current situation.
Yes. And how much time do you think it took you for to really adjust? Even now, do you really feel that you are adjusted, or you think that you are still adjusting, or what is your mental thought?
No, now I'm completely fine. It took me a year and a half at least for me to completely adjust to, because I was also learning language side by side, and I had never learned German before. So at least took me one and a half year to completely
Very
adjust.
good.
Now I'm completely fine. It's not no
Very
problem
good.
at all.
And in that one year, 1.5 years, 6 months, whatever the time was, your grades, what happened to them? Did you feel them going down, or they were fine as back home?
I found they were improving actually, but because as I didn't have any friends, all I did was study and concentrate on my own things.
Very good.
So I felt I was like improving compared to how I was before. So it was an
Beautiful.
advantage actually
Beautiful.
for me.
Beautiful, beautiful, Anvay. I really loved it, and I'm sure that all of the participants, they are very thankful that you shared very intimate, personal thoughts with us, and we're going to learn a lot from this. So our friend is saying that when you know these when someone is going to move from one country to another, they would have their children. So although maybe the elders would be able to adjust, what about children? Anvay maybe was a little bit older, so he was definitely very smart, because think about it, it is all about mindset. So when he was having some difficulty in the early stage, which all of us have, when we go to a new place, all of us have that difficulty. It takes time to create network and friendship and those type of things. So it is not something which the challenge Anvay faced. Most of the people are going to face those type of challenges. So what about the children if they are younger? Uh, will they miss their friends? How they will react? Would they start bad behaviors in school, like maybe bully or something like that? They are less interested in school, less interested in studies. So you have to think about those things also, if you are going to, because as Anvay has mentioned very nicely, that if those things are not going very very well in family, then the person either would have to go back to their home country, or if they are not going to go, then maybe the spouse, wife or husband, they might go back. They might say, we can't live here. When you have job, you go to your job. What am I doing here? Especially if they are not working. So they might go back. Anything can happen. A separation can happen. Divorce can happen. Anything can happen. So would you be happy with that type of job? If you so that's a difficult, very difficult call. So in international hiring, which you will have to do if you go in international trade, you will have to hire internationally. It's globalization. So you have to find the best minds for your work. So you have to think about these type of things. But then the issue is that in some cultures, these type of questions, personal questions, it is right of the worker, of the employee, or the interviewee, that they should not maybe answer these type of questions. For example, are you married or not? Yeah. So in some cultures or some countries, they say you don't have to answer, this is personal question. Yeah, so it is your now own understanding. But think about it. If someone is married, you have to think about different things. If someone is not married, it's different things. If someone is married without children, it is different. If someone has 5 children, 5 kids, it's different. Yeah, so you have to think about these things. Religion, for example, what is your religion? In some organizations, some countries, it is by law, you are not, if you don't want to answer, you can say, well, I don't want to answer. But these are important questions for you as international trade, because you need to see that religion is going to, how much practicing they are in religion. You need so from the perspective of job seeker, these are good things that you don't have to answer. But from the perspective of the owner or manager of international trade, they want to know these type of things. They want to know these type of things, definitely. Because let's say if someone goes in the interview and they say, well, I don't have any girlfriend, and I have all the time to work, and I am available 24/7. You can call me whenever you want. No problem with me. I have no child, no obligation, no mommy, no daddy, nothing. I just work and I enjoy the work. It's a different type of worker you are looking at. On the other hand, if they say, well, I have to leave at this time and pick up this and pick up that, and this is totally different. So maybe in your specific country, these things which I am saying is not maybe linking, but because it is international trade, if you look at internationally speaking, you will see that how relevant these things which Anvay told us are, how relevant they are. Yes, next one, please.
Hi. So when I was living in Taiwan for half a year, I did prepare myself language and culture barriers I will have to face. But one thing I just didn't think too much about was what would happen when I would get sick, and the general healthcare system in Taiwan. And I did have an international health insurance, but at some point I just got sick and had to kind of explain to a doctor who couldn't speak English what my symptoms were. And in the end, I got a huge pack of random pills and didn't know if the doctor even understood what I tried to say to him or what those pills even were. and it just didn't feel too good to take those pills. But they helped in the end, so I was fine. It was still not the most pleasant experience, and I guess this would be an important thing a company would have to try to support their employees who come from other countries.
Yeah, excellent point. And these things can happen. It can be a disaster, when you are in some other type of culture and or country and you get sick. It can be very difficult. Language barrier, medical practices, all those type of insurance fees, all those type of things, can be a problem. Thanks, Philly, for this very important point. And also remember, one point which in the last one, Anway, when he was talking, he said that he went to an international school. That point is, I think, very important to reflect on. So Anway is not someone who went to a school where it was like all Germans or something like. No, it was an international school. So people from all over it was that type of school where children of expats go. It was that type of school. Yeah. So even in that school, our friend had a little bit of difficulty, and not just him, other people who came, they would also have difficulty, because people already are friends with each other. Now a new person comes, he is seeking friendship, not those people. You have, like, for example, if I am there in Germany, you guys 70 people, 60 people over there, you all already have your network and everything. Why would you want to be friends with me? You already are okay with that. Where when the thing is over, you will go there, I will have to approach you guys, I will have to speak, and then you will have to, if you like me, then you will be friends with me. How much, what is your interest in me, why would you want to be friends with me? All those type of things will happen. And then friendship takes time, and then maybe say something or you say something, and we get a misunderstanding between each other, and then we say, all right, no, forget about it. Yeah, that is why you will see, and I hope you can relate with this also. In colleges, universities, you would see that Russians are making friends with Russians, Indians are making friends with Indians, Germans are making friends with Germans. Generally speaking, yes, there might be some other, but you would see that trend. Chinese are going together somewhere. Yeah, so you would see that. So when I went to, I got a chance to study in UK. I did my masters there in England, in United Kingdom. So as I was leaving Jamaica to go there a couple of years ago, so before I was going, I made up my mind that I'm not going to hang out with Indians. That is how I made up. Not saying that Indians are bad or something like that, nothing like that. I said to myself that I know, what Indians are going to say and what they are going to do and whatever. If I'm getting this opportunity to go overseas and study, why don't I hang out with other type of people? Yeah. So that is what I did. That was my preference. But then again, it's not that I did not make any Indian friend or any Pakistani friend, or the people who look like me. I did not make friends with them. I was fine with them, good acquaintance, all those. But I wanted to expose myself, so I wanted to meet from different people from all over the world. But I saw that I was maybe I was always like in a strange environment where everyone is Chinese and I'm Indian, and then everyone is like from a certain country, and I would stand out. So but I was okay with that. But it had real challenges for me, because every now and then they would start speaking in their own language, which is fine, which is fine, because more comfortable in that. But then so it was quite an experience. So that is what I encourage you guys also. So how you have spent your if you are in another country, how you have spent it, fine. Make friends with your own looking people also. Nothing is wrong in that. But expose yourself. Spend time with other type of people, what they are doing and what is happening. That would be a very good practice for this course, international trade. Yeah. Next one, please.
I also think that I agree with having the high flexibility. It's important to adjust to the new environment, and it can also make you develop new skills. For my own experience, I have never cooked when I was in Taiwan, and when I come to Germany, because the food in the restaurant is really cheap in Taiwan, and or we have street food and it's really cheap, but it is impossible to eat outside in Germany. So the only way to survive is I have to cook by myself. So then I I now learned how to cook to survive. And also the social networking is also important for me. And if you want to know the local people, you just have to put yourself out there and don't be afraid of being judged at the first time.
Beautiful.
And then, yeah.
What a beautiful point. What a beautiful point Ryan is making. Please write this line which Ryan said. Please write it somewhere. Don't be afraid of being judged. Don't be. If you have that fear, you can't network. You can't. Yeah. Just don't be afraid of being judged. Don't fear this thing. Just go in it. See what happens. If it works out, very good. If it does not work out, no problem. Try it again. Why you would want to give it up? Let's say that you want to be friends with, let's say you are European and you want to be friends with Chinese. Yeah, Chinese. Yeah. So one time you say, all right, let me go with Chinese people and what they are doing, and you go with them, and the food they order, you don't like it. They start speaking in their own language. They have their own joke. They have their own sense of humor. And I'm talking from my own experience. My own experience I'm talking with. And you will feel very awkward. You will say, what is this? Because if you are in your own type of people who are speaking your own language and everything, you will be able to relate. But this time, because you are with Chinese, you can't relate with them. So you go home and you are like, you say, forget about it. I'm not going to do that. So you just give up. Why did you think that in the first meeting these other culture people are going to become your friends? Why did you think that? Even in our own culture, it takes forever to develop any type of relationship. It takes forever to find friendship. It's not easy. It is easy that people are friends, but then I hope you know that to find good genuine friends or relationships or whatever, it's not that easy. It is easy, but it is not easy. Yeah. So think about that. I can tell you my personal story. So because I was hanging out with Chinese people, and they in the beginning it was not good, because they were trying to accommodate me, but every now and then they have to do their own things also. So in that time I would feel a little bit left out and stuff. But I said no problem. I said no problem. We'll go tomorrow again, next weekend again. They asked me, you want to come? I said yes, I want to come. And then I went, and then couple of times I went, and then I made one guy very good friend. Suddenly something happened, and that guy became just my friend one evening, just like that. I don't know what I said. I don't know what happened. He just became my friend. And then next weekend he came. He brought his car. He brought his girlfriend with him, who was Chinese. He brought a gift for me, and he came to my dorms and he said, Tashfeen, what are you doing? I said, I'm not doing anything. Although I was studying or something, I said, nothing, I'm not doing anything. So he said, well, come, let me. He took me from one city to next city in UK because he was driving. He asked me what type of food I enjoy and I like. He found a restaurant which serves Chinese food and that type of food which I asked him to. He took me, and story is long. Yeah. So think about that. Think about that. Now, it might not have happened, no problem, but I just maybe got lucky. But if you are really interested in this type of networking, then as Ryan is saying, and he is telling us from his experience. You cannot just let go this line. You have to hold this line. And Ryan, very thankful for you to say this, that he said that don't be afraid that people will judge. So this was just one example, but anything in life, don't be afraid people are going to judge you. Let people judge, let people see you, let people do what they want. You do what you want to do. Yeah? Because you won't be able to what you want to do if you are always thinking about people. Yes, overall you need to be sensitive to the overall culture and stuff like that. But then at the end of the day, you have to do your own game also. So please write that line and follow that. That is very important. Yes, next one. Please go ahead. Next one.
Okay. So when I made my internship in England, and normally you would not think a big difference between Germany and the UK, but actually in work, especially in work that you're not friends with, I realized that they assume that you know the context sometimes and they don't tell you things directly. So sometimes you would need to think, what did they mean? And also I think that sometimes they compliment you or say something nice to you just because they do. So I think that's a big difference between the two countries.
Yeah, very big. And which countries you are talking about? You are breaking up.
So I was in the UK, in England.
Okay. And which is the other
Yeah.
country? UK and?
Just Germany.
Okay, all right. Very nice. Yes, very true. These type of things happen, so you have to think about that. Very good.
So I spent a year in the US, and I definitely experienced a culture shock, but I eventually got over it. And like kind of when I got over it, I felt like I learned a lot about my own culture, like my German culture as well. And I felt like I kind of got to know two cultures because for the first time, I really understood my own culture because I was integrated in the American culture, and for the first time in my life, had an outside view on my own culture. So that was a really valuable experience, and I really thought like now I know what it is to be German, and now I really know the German culture. And then I came back to Germany, I also experienced a reverse culture shock. So it really took me a long time to integrate in like back home because I felt like the American culture was also a part of me and is still to that day. But yeah, so I kind of had to make both work a little bit together.
Very good. Please make note of this. Our friend is talking about culture shock and then reverse culture shock. So you go to some foreign country and then you work there, whatever international business or whatever, or just your own life, and then personal life. And then when you come back, it can be, although you are going back to your home country, it can be a challenge because now you are going back. So that is what is repatriation. So expatriation, expats going out, but then you have to, as international trade, you would have to think about repatriation also. So when people are coming back to their home country, you need to look at that they adjust, right? You can't take it for granted that because they are coming home they will adjust, because now they have exposure of a new country, so they are going to look at home country in a different way. Maybe the pay, maybe the living standard, maybe anything, they can do that. So it can be a challenge for international businesses when they send out people to work in overseas assignment, and when they come back after 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, it can be difficult because sometimes when they come back that job is not there, or maybe the salary is less, because definitely when you go as expat go in a different country and work, you get more salary if you are going through international trade, because you are moving your location. So and many bonuses which you get, which you would not get if you are working in your home country. Yeah, so think about those things. Very good. Next one.
So during my semester abroad, I went to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, and of course it was really different, and I was shocked by all the chaos there and the different food. But one thing has really stuck with me, and that's the traditions that they have there. And what I really liked is that in Vietnam, people don't see themselves individuals like we do in the Western culture, but they really see themselves as part of their family. So family is super important there, and they make all their important life decisions based on what the family thinks. For example, I had a friend there, and she had a boyfriend, but her family didn't approve of him, so she actually broke up with him because she didn't want to disappoint them. And I don't think that that would happen that easily maybe here in Western cultures. And it really made me think of this concept of the cultural iceberg, I think, where you have like cultural aspects that you can just, read about, for example, like the fashion or what holidays they have in the different cultures, or the language and the really obvious stuff. But to really get to know the people, you have to stay longer and experience the deep culture, like the underlying aspects, like, as I said, traditions, or like body language and all these not so noticeable things. So that really stuck with me, and I think companies, and especially the HR department, they should really try to make like international lunches or something like that for their employees, where they can get to know their co-workers and get to understand the people around them better. I think
Very
that's in a diverse workforce.
Very good. Franz, which country your friend is from?
She's Vietnamese, but
Vietnam.
she was from North Vietnam, from Hanoi, and the north of Vietnam is still a lot more traditional than the south of where Ho Chi Minh City is, for example, because in the south it's like the economic like the biggest economic area, but in the north they still read hands, for example, and like they kind of try to read the future with this, and what's also really important, I think the day that you die becomes more important for your ancestor as your birthday, and lots of like older people, they don't even know their birthday because it's just not important to them. And instead of celebrating everyone's birthday, when they celebrate Chinese New Year, it's like this huge festival, and there they kind of celebrate that the whole family is alive and that they have each other, which I think is really cool.
It is indeed. Thanks for sharing this story with us. Your friend is married now or single yet?
She's single.
She's single. All right. Next one.
Okay, so a few minutes ago, you told us that it's all about the mindset, and I totally want to agree with you because when I graduated high school, I went to go to New Zealand to do some work and travel, and I had some expectations, and they didn't. It didn't turn out like I would imagine it. So it got worse when I thought about I wanted to be like that, but it didn't went like that. And so it was not the best experience. And then I studied international management, and we had to choose our country where we want to do our semester abroad. And I chose my least favorable country, which was Thailand, because I've never been to Asia before, and I heard a lot about it being not that comfortable there. But I thought I want to work international, so I have to go where I feel most uncomfortable to like prove myself that I can survive there. So
Very
I
good.
went there with very low expectations to zero expectations, and my mindset was like, whatever comes will come. And it was the best time I had there, and it turned out so good that I would recommend for everyone to just go with no expectations and an open mindset. And maybe as a company, you should try to only send those employees that really have the right mindset and an open mind and no expectations, so that this will not be a disappointment.
Beautiful point, Viv. Thanks for that. So yes, think about this. What Viv is saying, that when you go to a new place, don't go with crazy type of expectations. Have ambitions, have aspirations, have dreams, the things you want to do. That is fine, but we are talking about a little bit of a different thing. We are talking about expecting in a different sense, because if you uh, I think Viv has really explained it very well, so let me not add anything to that. But Viv, can you please stress it a little bit more, like why it is important to not have a lot of expectations, and how to have balance between good expectations and negative expectations. I think you are talking about those things, so please stress a little bit on that in some way, so all of us can really understand what you are trying to share with us, please.
Yes, I think if you have some expectations, the only thing that can happen is they will not be fulfilled. And if you have negative expectations, it's really hard to convince yourself that it's even better than you thought. So if you go there with a balanced expectation,
Right.
everything can happen, but everything can happen to the positive side as well. So you will not be that disappointed even if it turns out to not be that good, but you will be very happy when it turns out to be good.
A great point. Thanks for that. And always remember that it is very hard not to have expectations, because think about it. When I am talking with you guys, I am asking to participate. I expect that you will. I expect that you will share your inside internal stories, personal stories, and stuff like that. So that is my expectation. But if you decide that you are not going to do that, I will have to live with that. But I have great expectations from you guys. But then I have to manage them. Otherwise, I will be unhappy. Otherwise, I will be saying that I am trying too hard, but people are not cooperating, and this and that. So that is where negativity is going to come in the mind. So we have to be mindful of that. Excellent. Next one.
Yeah, for me, actually, the biggest challenge, but also simultaneously the biggest opportunity when going abroad, is that you can be whoever you want to be. So nobody knows you. You can really choose more or less a character you want to, yeah, just what you want to present. So nobody knows like, that's the girl who did that and that, because yeah, they just cannot. So yeah, for me, this was always when I went abroad, the most interesting thing. So really, yeah, try to be yourself, but see how people perceive you. And yeah, sometimes it's really, yeah, different than the people in your hometown, how they perceive you. So yeah.
Uh, Thanks for this, Luisa. Luisa, can you share that story of the little girl which you told me with all of us? I think we would be interested. What your reflection part, story of that little girl?
Yeah, so actually I don't have it open right now, but we talked a lot about failure and how to cope with failure. So I thought about when people are not really able to cope with failure. So this is when they are young, and I remember where I thought about a young girl sitting in her room crying because she failed. And then somebody who comes to her and who tells her how her mindset should be. So help her and say her that she will fail again and again, and it's not a bad thing at all, because she will learn from it and then she will improve, and she's getting better and better. So one day she will be really successful. So yeah, and so it's of course hard to have that mindset, but it's really important, and that's what I thought about, yeah, when reflecting the class.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lucia. I appreciate the story.
So there are like two very important points for me when traveling to a different country or like trying to integrate yourself into like a different culture. The first one is mentorship. So like when I did my world trip, when I came to Asia, I was kind of lost. I've never been there, and fortunately, a good friend of mine was already like traveling through Asia for like a specific period of time, and we met down there, and he guided me through all the cultural differences, like how to bargain at the market, um, how to bargain with tuk-tuk drivers and all that kind of stuff, and he showed me around and showed me, okay, um, don't go to those tourist spots, or like try to stick to local people and all that stuff. And he left after 10 days, and afterwards I had like in my experience, I had a way better experience in the end, because yeah, I had somebody that guided me through like the first days, made my like the next 2 months like way better for me. And the next thing I want to add is like, if you want to integrate into like a different culture, it's important to stick to local people, because then you get like the best experience. It was also in Asia, and we stick with the local people in like a small village, and they showed us abandoned places. They were like so beautiful, and none of the tourists knew them. So they took us there, provided us with food, and it was like such a nice experience to yeah, to meet and like get familiar with like different cultures. And now I can say, for example, I experienced the Indonesian culture, for example. And with that in my mind, I moved to San Diego like 2 years ago for my semester abroad. And then I was like, okay, in the first place, we came to like the first day of classes. Um, I realized, okay, they separated us into international students and domestic students, and half of the international students were Germans. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna spend thousands of dollars and like in order to chill or like to spend time with Germans again. So I was like, okay, I don't wanna. It's nothing bad or something. I was just like, I don't want to be part of that international scene, because then I'm not gonna get familiar with like the American culture. So I kind of made friends with like some Americans, and one of them is still one of my best friends today, and he showed us around and took us to like all the nice frat parties and all that stuff. So in the end, I had like a real like American experience, because we were like, me and my friend were the only non-American people inside that like group of friends. So it was like always like, yeah, we felt like Americans in some sort of way. And I think
Yeah,
that
great.
wouldn't be the same if I hadn't done that.
Excellent, great point, great point. And think about these misunderstandings can happen, if someone is, speaking in a louder tone. In different cultures, people will assume differently. If someone laugh on something, people will assume differently in different cultures. So we don't really know why someone did what they did. So we have to be mindful of that. And this point which our friend made is about mentor. I think that is very important point, because mentor or the guide or the person who knows that place, who have been to that place or whatever, the importance of these type of people are significant in all aspects of international trade, especially when we are talking about international hiring and so on. And he gave very nice example. Thanks for that. Next one.
So basically, I wanted to address 2 points. So when you as an employee move to another country, you basically have to face a lot of things like, how is the overall acceptance? Is it common to do over hours? Is it a hardworking and competitive society or working atmosphere? So like in America, it is assumed that you work hard and that you are still available after work. And overtime is not uncommon here. And for someone who comes, I don't know, from Germany or Europe, this might be not that common, and it gets a lot of time to get used to it. And if you're a person enjoying your free time and holidays, this could be really challenging. And another point I want to mention is health insurance, because in Germany you don't have to worry about it when working for a company because it's like always included. So we are really used to it. And in my semester abroad, when I was in Singapore, I was sick like really, really often because it took me a long time to get used to the food, the heat, and the environment. And there I had to pay first for all the medical bills and stuff. And I have seen how expensive this can be. And so,
yes.
yeah, that's a really, really important point to have a look on the health insurance, health insurances all over the world.
And these type of things can happen because when we will go to a new place and try new foods, anything can happen to our stomach. Even drinking water of a different place which we are not used to, it can upset our stomach or something like that. So these things, depending on different different people, it can have impact on that. Which country you are talking about, Vanessa?
I was in Singapore.
Singapore. So think about it, like for a very very advanced country, but even in those type of places, things can happen. Thanks for the point, Vanessa.
So I also want to share personal experience. In my semester abroad, I went to the US. And so there was also there are also a few Germans there that were exchange students. So I was like friends with some exchange students also from Germany, but also with local people. And I want to compare my experience there in America to the experience of one of the other exchange students. I think it depends on the length of your stay in the country, but I think it's important that you're somewhat suitable to the culture there. So, for example, so there was a friend that I had, and well, so first of all, he was complaining about the public transportation there, the bus system. The buses are always late, or they don't show up at all, and everything. So he was really complaining about that. And then for me, it was okay. You just take the earlier bus, and then you get there on time where you want to be, kind of. And then, for example, for him, like in America, Uber is like really, really big. And for him, it was a torture to actually sit in an Uber because the drivers did actually small talk with him. And he was like, it is so exhausting. Why do Americans do that? It's so bad. I hate it. I pay for it. It's like a taxi. I just want to sit there and say nothing. Why can they not get it? Stuff like that. And also, I think he didn't have a lot of American friends. But it was like so bad. And then also the food there, he wanted his German food back and everything. I'm not even sure if he enjoyed it there after the half a year. Like he was just so glad to get back home. And then for me, I found it pretty cool that you can talk to like different people and also in class. So especially in class, I talked to different people and so on, and like I got invited to parties and so on, and where I got to know new people. And I think it's so cool to just have because Americans just tell you so much out of their personal life, kind of, even though you don't know them that well. And I think that's so cool because, every person has a story to tell. And, also when you take an Uber, so I think it's so cool that, you can just talk to each other and you find out similarities or differences and so on. And I really, really enjoyed that, but he just didn't at all. So I feel like maybe like an Asian culture or something where people are maybe more shy or something would be more suitable for him than the US, where people just, come to you and just start talking.
Very, very good, and thanks for sharing these intimate times with us. Think about this, this example, our friend. Just like I'm sure you guys, many of you maybe, or at least some of you can relate with this. Like, imagine that you don't like to, say much, and you just want to sit and listen, and but I'm always asking you questions and stuff like that, and tell me this and tell me that, and this is the next question and this is that, and so you are, some of you are going to be annoyed by that depending on your personality and stuff like that. But these are these, you have to think about these things. You have to, as our friend was also talking about risk analysis couple of times, these are the risks you have to think about. What is, how you're going to manage these, what you're going to, but Bianca, how long was your stay in US? Was it long?
I was there for half a year, so basically just spent my third semester there.
Okay, so you went to a university.
Yes, exactly. So like I was in different classes and so on, and that's where I got to know many people too. Cause you just gotta talk to them. It's funny. It's pretty cool.
But before going to there, what was your personality? You are not someone who would talk to people and that type of thing. Was that the case?
Well, not really, but I mean, if
Everyone
someone
will
just
prefer to adjust. Yes. Yeah.
if someone just sits next to me in the bus in Germany, I don't just start talking to them. Like Germans just don't do that, but Americans do. They just start talking about the weather and so on, and I think it's pretty cool. And honestly, I kind of wish that Germans would do that more often too, but they don't. But yeah, I don't know. I never would have thought about that you just start talking to a random person.
But if we start a conversation even with a German, I think that some of them will start talking and you might end up making friends with them. So it is maybe not all the Germans, of course, and that is not what you meant, of course.
No, no, it's not all the Germans, but I feel like most of them wouldn't just start talking to you. You know, like feel like you have to already have something in common with them. Like maybe you're in the same class or something. But, just randomly and on a bus or on an Uber, they just go, "Hey, how's your day going?" That's it. I mean, you see it in like the greetings. So like a German just says hello. The American goes, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
You know, it's
Very
like
good.
it's so different.
Very good. So we need to think about these little details, and this last thing which Bianca said, that's very interesting. That in one culture they will just say hello and or good morning or whatever. In next one they are going to maybe ask a question, and then in some cultures they really want you to answer that question. And like for example, how are you? They really want to know how are you. In other cultures they are just, that is again a courtesy thing to ask how are you. So quite a interesting topic. Yes, next one please.
Yeah, when I had my semester abroad in South Korea, for me it was actually the exact opposite, in example to America, because I realized real quick that the people were very passive and rather shy. And when I first landed, obviously I didn't have any mobile data, and so I needed the help of the other people to find my apartment. And basically the first group I asked, they did not want to help me because they thought maybe I wanted to harm them, or maybe I was too direct talking to them. And this was basically the already first point where I realized, okay, the people are different in talking to them. And so it took me a while actually to find someone who could help me. But the people always were very nice and they paid a lot of respect, but they are way more passive. And it showed over the time, over the 6 months. But you get used to that and you learn how to communicate better with them. And then you still can have a great option to make good friends there.
Very interesting. Thanks for that, Julia.
Yeah, so I think if you move into a new location, I think the first thing you have to do is to make a proper research and you have to be mentally strong and motivated. And let me share my experience with you. In 2030, when I traveled for the first time to study abroad, I traveled to North Cyprus. I don't know if many of you know North Cyprus. We have two Cyprus. We have the South Cyprus, which is under Greek and is part of EU and is part of Schengen, and the North Cyprus is under Turkey and is only recognized by Turkey, so it's not recognized globally. So I was actually thinking I was going to the South Cyprus, which is under EU. So I was thinking when I get there, I will go to other EU country, as Schengen visa, and make my travel around as a tourist. So I was shocked when I got to North Cyprus, and then the whole Cyprus is not even up to Wolfsburg yet. So it's just like a prison. And the funniest thing is that if you are in this North Cyprus, you can't go to any other country except Turkey. And if you are going to Turkey, you still have to apply for a visa to Turkey. So the only place you can go is just to go back to your country, or you could travel to Turkey on a tourist visa. So when I got there, I was really depressed, and I had to be mentally strong. And actually, I spent 2 years there, but most of my friends who are not mentally strong, they actually went back after just 1 week after we got there, because the I can count the buildings in the island there. So the buildings are not up to 50. So it was really a shit of when we got there. And we grew up in a city of about 5 million people, and then the population there is just like 5,000 population, and we have this expectation that we're going to a bigger country or a big European country. And then the funniest thing about the people there is that they don't speak English. So all of them just speak Cypriot or Turkish. So it was very difficult to integrate with the locals and or to speak with them. So it was a big cultural shock. But I was really mentally strong. So I spent 2 years there and I really achieved a lot. So when I was about to transfer to Germany, I did a lot of proper research, and I met some Germans there because Germans love to go there for holidays. So I met some Germans, and which I tried to communicate with them, try to learn their culture before I actually traveled to Germany. So when I got to Germany, I was not really shocked by the cultural shock, not much. I was a little bit, but not too much. So I think if you move into a country or a location, you have to do a proper research, both environment and cultural of the place you go into. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thanks very much for this, Josh. You really explained it very well, of course. And then you have to link it with international hiring. If these type of issues happen and you have hired someone from international market and they would want to go back after a week or so, just like Joshua explained us, then it is a lot of loss for your company in many ways, in different ways. Yes, next one, please. Great point.
Okay, so I was going to the Netherlands, and normally if people hear, okay, going to the Netherlands, they think, okay, it's just similar to Germany, but still, if you live, of course, if you maybe go there just for 1 or 2 days, you don't recognize the difference, but if you really live there, I think you recognize a lot of differences, how people behave and everything. But I think it is also important from where you are coming, so how huge the difference is. Because, for example, for me, it was some kind of easy to adapt this culture as it was still European. But I had a friend from Algeria, and he was already living there for, I think, 2 years. And he was also learning the language and everything. But he said, okay, I'm here for 2 years, and sometimes I still don't understand what is going on. So I think it is also important from where you're coming and how different the culture is.
Definitely very important, guys. Please think about this. Next one, please.
Hi, I would like to say about a different style in class. In Taiwan, we usually sit in a class and just attend the lecture and have less communication with professor. But in Germany, professors like to have communication with students. I think the class atmosphere is more energetic and really different with what we have in Taiwan. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. This is the first time you are participating in the discussion, Cow.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome. I'm very excited. So you have participated fine. So nothing to really worry about because you were all always there, and you are coming from a culture where you just listen, and that is the type of culture you are coming from. So but that is fine. You just make one or two comments in every session. That's it. You don't have to say a lot of things. One or two lines, that is more than enough. And you did that very fine, and you spoke very well. So I encourage you going forward, one or two line when you feel like, you should say that. And thank you very much. I really know that how much effort it takes for someone to say something if they are not used to it. Because I was like that in school. I would not speak a lot. But coming on this side, then I started speaking. So I really appreciate your comments. Thank you very much, Kao.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So we try to develop a little bit of understanding that what happens when we are changing our location. So, and this is what the international human resource is all about. You will be changing your location. You will be hired from international markets and so on. So you would have to see this. These things are posted on the website in your own time. Try to go through them and try to make linkages. For example, this nice chapter starts with an example of Coca-Cola. We established in yesterday's session that how big and fascinating and all those good things Coca-Cola is. But of course, remember that Coca-Cola does not give us healthy drinks. We don't encourage consuming them, but to look at international company Coca-Cola is a nice one. So they have this example. You can look into that. So for example, look at this one on the right hand side of your screen: selection and repatriation. Yeah. So one of our friends was talking about reverse culture shock. So that is what this repatriation is all about. So look at this. What are the things they are talking about? International screening criteria and selection process. What are some of the things you should consider when you are looking at that? And you will be happily amazed that many of the things you were able to draw from your own experience. So when you will be reading this chapter, it will be very easy for you, especially if you are listening to these great points which our friends made, because they kind of, without even knowing, they kind of summed up international human resource management in a wonderful way. So look at this thing: adaptability. Did not you guys talk about flexibility, mindset, and all those type of things? This is what adaptability is. So you want to check that. Self-reliance. Yeah, what did not you listen to that example where one of our friends learned how to cook, and in his culture he was not really cooking because parents and elders prepare the meal over there, and children, just young ones also, they just go and eat it and consume it. Age, experience, education. So all of you who are able to give some type of examples, these are the examples which you should tell in the interview. If you are looking for some interview which is giving you a job of international, in any sense, you have to go in international market. So you can tell them all these things, that okay, this thing happened, and then this is how I coped, and this is what I did, and so on. Health and family status. Did not you guys spoke about health issues, getting sick, health insurance, all of those things? Yeah. Motivation and leadership. Did not you guys spoke about that? So what I'm trying to really say, and this is what I have been trying to do throughout the week, I hope you are able to link with that. Say, if you are not interested in reading books, that is fine. You can talk and communicate with the right people and get those asking right type of questions can help you. Many times you would have to then just scan the books. Yeah, of course book reading is important, but in some cultures, people are not really consuming the books. And think about it, all the things which I have posted on the website, are you really going to go through them and stuff like that? Majority of them, I don't think you will, because based on the data I have, not many people are going on the website from that part of the world. So but that is fine, you can do it in your own time. But what I'm trying to say, that engagement, asking questions, getting involved, sharing experience, these type of things, together with reading the book, when you combine these two things, then I think experience and the theoretical knowledge which is in the book, you combine that, that is, I think, that is one great way to really learn and appreciate these type of things. If you, but you can develop your own, your own style and stuff like that. Selection process, reason for repatriation, why they are coming back, adjustment strategies. So think about this. You guys were talking about this. Different types of trainings now. Training, for example, language training. They are talking about. You guys mentioned that sensitivity training. Yeah. So you can look at the chat, for example. So Anway laughed on something, and I laughed on something, and I'm sure Sebastian don't know what we were laughing at, but he wrote that this is unempathetic and it is harsh and whatever. Yes. So well, if that happened, if that is how Sebastian felt, of course Anway is very sorry for what he did. So am I. But see, these type of things happen. Yeah. So not understanding these, this is a good example to think about that, how you are going to deal with these type of situation in international trade. When you are in international trade where money is involved, where the brand is involved, and so on so forth, people are going to make some assessment, some judgment on the spot, and nothing is wrong in that. We all do that. I am assessing you guys, you are assessing me, guys. You are assessing all of other people who are speaking, and all those type of things. So in international trade, in international human resource, this becomes a very big challenge to really understand what is going on. It becomes very difficult to really understand people sometimes. Henry there, Henry Hundewat. Henry, you are there. Your mic is available.
Yes.
Yes, Henry. How you your wisdom teeth is out, but do you still have wisdom, or it is gone with the teeth?
My wisdom is gone. It's over.
So I hope you are recovering.
Yes,
please tell us that thing about understanding. The way you concluded your video. Please tell us that understanding. What were you trying to say?
Okay, so I was simply trying to say that many people listen, but they don't really understand what people are saying. So the most important part is actually knowing why a person is saying something, and by that I mean you don't necessarily need to agree with that, but you need to understand why where they're coming from. You know, it's part of the culture maybe as well. Maybe they just have a different religion. They're with like they have different values as you. So from their point of view, it is right, even though it isn't right for your point of view. But that's the whole key. You need to understand that for them it is right what they're saying, even though it isn't for you. And overall, if you get that, that will bring you a lot further when communicating with people.
Yeah, thanks very much. I have written that point in my notebook, and I plan to look at over again and again. You said it very nicely, and thanks for that. And let me tell you that your wisdom has not gone, although your wisdom teeth is gone.
All right, thank you very much.
Good one. So think about these things: training, environment. Think about this understanding, which Henry explained us very nicely. Compensations, of course, as you will go in international market to work, of course, as I explained you a while ago, there are different allowances: traveling allowance, home allowance, car allowance, different type of allowances based on what is happening. An international business would have to give, and the thing in that is that because a company is spending more money than usual on international hiring in international business or international trade, that is why they have to be more mindful about these type of things. As Henry explained, that try to understand why the other person is saying what they are saying, and he is very right that you don't have to agree with that. You just want to think a little bit that where they are coming from. Just that if you have that type of practice over a period of time, your understanding of human behavior and why people say different things, it is going to fundamentally improve. Needless to say that labor laws, government laws, different type of technology related laws, they will be different. We discussed that in the earlier part of this week also. They have some paragraphs on Germany, Denmark, Japan, different types of what they are doing. But you guys, from the discussion, I think we spoke about many countries. So you guys should be able to reflect on these type of things, and you can look at the numbers and figures in your own time if you are really interested. But be mindful, these numbers are old, so run a fresh Google search, find the right sites which are not fake news and which are giving you the right numbers. And if you are interested, you can look at it. At the end of the chapter, they are looking at Gillette company. We spoke about that. We are using our own technique. We spoke about research and development, and yesterday I think we saw a clip also on that. So these are some of the things maybe you would have to be mindful when you are thinking about hiring uh, international hiring for your international trade, or if you want to expand your business in foreign markets, you would have to hire internationally, and you would have to hire in the country where you are going to plant yourself and stuff like that. So those things are important. Please run a Google search on expatriate failure rate. Expatriate failure rate. So expatriates fail. What is the rate of expatriates going to other countries, and then it does not work out? You can run some Google search and tell us what is that. If you remember, Anway told us that his story. You can think about that story also. I think that was very nice. Look at this. They are on the right hand side of the screen. What they are talking about. They are talking about global mindset. Global mindset. Yeah, global mindset. Did not you guys spoke about that? Global mindset. You guys spoke about that. So training, those type of things. Training, for that you would want to think that the person you are going to train, is the person trainable? Are they flexible enough to learn new things, or they are rigid? Some people are just rigid. Some people just like their food. They do not like to try other type of foods. Nothing is wrong with those people. They are exceptional people. But it is just one thing that they enjoy their own food. That is what their taste buds are like. So you have to think about those things. Language, you have to think about those things. Other type of training which would be required, and link it with the points which our friends made. We spent substantial amount on that, like around 1 hour or so, on taking examples from different people. There is definitely a real reason. I hope you can link the reasons why we did that. Yeah, national differences. You guys spoke about different countries. You guys spoke about United States. You guys spoke about countries in Asia. You guys spoke about European countries. We have been speaking about every now and then how Jamaican thing is, but we can later on maybe talk more on these type of things. Different type of taxation would be there. In one of the sessions, I told you that when you are going into international market, you would want to think that what are the accounting practices they have, what are the financial practices they have. Do they have UK based systems, or you have US based system? Yeah, so you would have to think about those type of things. Then lawyers will become very important in this hiring process, because the contracts are to be written. So yes, as an international trade manager, you won't be doing all these things. You would just want to develop understanding of all these things, and then you will have the right people who are managing these things. That is what international trade is about. You should have an overall understanding of what is happening, and then you work on the things which you are passionate about, because international trade is big. So you can select your area of passion, your area of interest, your area of expertise, and then you have right people to do different jobs, as we have been discussing in the chapter. But please go ahead, you guys want to say something.
So I just want to mention that I did my internship also in the area of international HR, and I found it really interesting that if you send expatriates abroad, you have to pay sometimes 6 times as much as if you would just take or as if you would hire a local person. But however, I think it's sometimes also really useful because I also work together with 2 expatriates, one from Asia, from China, and the other one from the US. And I think they share a lot of best practice. And it was really helpful to have them in Germany. So I think sometimes the investment is really worth it.
Oh, yes, very good point. And our friend is giving us some numbers, percentages that what so very important to look at that. Thanks very much, Isabel, for sharing that. Really appreciate it. Please go ahead. Anyone can speak.
Yeah, I also want to add up on the point for the failure of expatriates. And I think often it is also about the families of them, because like most of the employers are also like sending the family also abroad with them. And if they do not feel comfortable in the culture or in the different country, yeah, it is always a risk that the expatriate will, yeah, doesn't also feel comfortable there. So this is quite a high risk for employers that also need consideration.
Very good. Next one, please. I think someone wants to speak.
I just wanted to add that there's like a typical expatriate life cycle. Like at the beginning, you're like highly motivated and you think, oh, great, such a big chance to go abroad and I will love it and stuff like this. And then when you're there, maybe the first days are super exciting, but then like you get an extremely big culture shock and your mood is getting down and stuff like this. And then things happen, just like Vera said, that if your family is there as well, they might not
You have
like
something, right?
accept the new environment and can't find connections and friends that easily. So I think this is like the life cycle, but then you get used to all that and it's getting better and better. But of course, like maybe this kind of exchange isn't for your life. So then once you go will be back, then you get one of those downs again because yeah, you're missing stuff like this, and then you know that things have changed that much when you're back. So I think this is like the theoretical part. But when you're abroad, you experience many different stages of excitement and anger, and you're afraid and stuff like this.
Excellent point. Yes, this is very important. And you know, in the early part, there can be a lot of excitement and all those type of things. But as we go on, those things can run out and things can happen. In this, you would want to think about so many issues which can happen. So I'm just going to briefly talk about burnout. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that. Some people do get burnout from working because, as our Russian friend was explaining, that some people in Germany they are working 3 hours, and in Russia people have to work for similar wage or similar thing 12 hours. So that is very interesting, you know. So but look at this one, what you are, this is an employee, this is a real clip. This is not a acting or a movie scene. This is from the cameras of an office, and you can look this thing up and you can find out. Just run a YouTube search, employee burnout, restructuring office space, computers, whatever, and look at this, look at that. So the person is really messing up with the system. You can look at this one also. See what there's a burnout. Look at this. He's talking nicely on phone, but you know this is what he's doing. Yeah. So this is what it is. So but it's quite famous. Marissa Mayer. He has reached very high ranks in the corporate world. Uh, look up these type of things and see, you know, you have to be mindful that you don't want to burn out your employees and so on. How should you hire? you know, should you hire versus on skills, or you should hire looking at the degree the person has done. So I have seen in UK, for example, they do hire looking at the skill set. They are not maybe 100% concerned about the degree. If you have a bachelor's degree, that is fine, but they are looking for certain skill sets. On the other hand, there are other countries where people are looking at degrees, qualification, like what if you have done a bachelor's in let's say, you know, operations management or international business, only then you can do the job in international business. On the other hand, there are other countries which are not necessarily looking for a degree in international business management. They are looking at the skill set, your own expertise, your own reading, your own passion, interest, and so on, and then they are doing the hiring. So both ways have their plus and minus. I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Ego, human ego, that was one thing which we spoke about during the semester. A couple of times that thing came up in the discussions also. So this is Navy SEALs USA. You should listen to this clip. It is a short clip, and try to link it with the discussion, with the examples you guys were giving. And I have added these interviews or comments by these top people in their field. So listen to them, try to link it with the other topics, like for example decision making, because international hiring is a big decision making, who you are going to bring and so on. This is something which I like. This is a picture or whatever, a quote or whatever. If you think it is expensive to hire a professional, wait until you hire an amateur. Yeah, someone very successful in their field, they once said it to me. Uh, One of my uncles, in fact, he said it to me that you know, it is good to save money, but sometimes you should not be thinking about saving money. So if you are like hiring best talent, you should go for best talent available, because that best talent is going to help you save money in many ways. But if you try to save money in hiring, then maybe you will be able to save money and you will hire someone who is going to charge less, but then they are going to make so many mistakes that it's not worth it. So I kind of like that idea. Looking at your circumstances, you have to see what you want to do. This is an interesting clip which I talk about, generally speaking, when I'm discussing human resource management. With this clip I start, and then my discussion goes about that. But because we are not face to face, so I did not do it like that. But anyways, I am posting the link in the chat. You can watch it in your own time maybe, and think about these type of things, and think about, are human beings for sale? Is there a price for everyone, or you think they are not for sale? Because that mindset, that thinking, that the way you will answer that type of question is going to impact how you will treat your employees, how you will, because if you think money can buy workers, then you have a different mindset. If you think that no, money cannot buy people, then you are doing it a little bit differently. So but you have to think about, you would have to think about that. uh, Another follow-up question I wanted to just ask. It's a general question. If someone really thinks, we don't want to repeat the things, maybe what we have, what we have done throughout the week. So there is no need to repeat anything. If you think that that thing is covered, that is fine. But just ask yourself that you guys have, a lot of experience. You guys have done a lot of internships, short stints in your own country and in foreign countries, and many of you have done exchange. So all of these internships, externships, these type of experience. So my question is that what did you learn from your internships? All the things you did. Is there any lesson which you take from that? I think if you can share some tangible things which you maybe learned from your internship, as we are coming close to our term or our week. I think that would be very interesting for us to reflect on a little bit. But be mindful that we are maximizing from the time we have, and we don't maybe repeat anything. If there is something new which you think, oh, I learned that in my internship and that might be useful for other people, please go ahead and share it. If there is nothing worth sharing, that is fine also. But uh, I thought that this is a good question, because many of you might appreciate or like knowing what are the things other people learned in their internship. So go ahead if you feel like. But anyway, um, I am reflecting that on my internship, and I want to share my first internship, first experience, one of the first. Like basically, it was first because I was paid for that internship. So right after my undergraduate degree, I had my first internship, which was 8 weeks long. I want to share with you what I learned from that. So of course I was very studious and scoring high marks and stuff like that. uh, so people who score high and this type of academic people, they are always studying kind of, because they don't get time to do other things. Sometimes they are just focused about numbers and they are always thinking about numbers, and that's it. Although with time I learned that that is a very wrong way to deal with studies. You should not be concerned with numbers, you should be concerned with understanding, because you might get less number, doesn't really matter, but if you really get the understanding, you will be successful in the life and so on. But that is a different thing. So in my internship, I just want to share my experience, what I learned. So because I was hardworking and everything, um, it was an 8 weeks internship, and it was a lot of work. It was to create a standard operating procedures manual for one of the biggest chicken producer and supplier, basically essentially in this region where I'm speaking with from Caribbean. Yeah, they are quite big. So they had code rooms and stuff like that. So they wanted to update their SOPs, and for that they gave me a chance for that as an internship. So 8 weeks, and I would just go there, work on my thing, take less time for lunch, just focused, come home when I'm sleepy. When I'm up, I go back to work. They had given me access 24/7. So because the nature of such plants is that they run 24/7, sometimes I would go in the morning shift, which was like which would start at 3 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes I would go in 7 p.m. shift to observe, because when you are writing SOPs, you have to do a lot of observation and stuff like that. Although that was not my requirement from the job, I was only employed for 7 hours per day, just 5 days a week, and that is it. But because I was interested and so on, I just did it. So this is how I was dealing with it, not maybe talking too much with other people and so on. Meanwhile, on the plant, there were many people. One of the person got interested in me. He wanted to become friends with me. So every now and then he would want to, talk with me. And I would talk with him, but very briefly, because I was very focused on work. So here comes week 5 or week 6, and I needed a document somewhere from the departments within that company. It was a very big company. And I was running up and down and up and down and up and down, and I could not figure out who has that file and stuff and whatever, and access to file and all those type of protocols. So I was thinking about these things, and one day that gentleman, he asked me, how is the work? You are working very hard, and
Okay, can you hear me now? In my opinion, the internship is mostly about two things. The first thing is finding your place in the business atmosphere. Is the thing that you're doing is for you? Is this uh, the right place for you? And the second most important thing is creating connections with the superiors, because this is the thing that opens doors for you in the future. Because having connections in the company where you made an internship could really help you finding a permanent job after graduating.
Yeah, what I wanted to share and what I've learned during my internship is to say no to things people ask you to do. Because I don't know how many times my supervisor told me, push back, because otherwise you're gonna be overwhelmed. And this is really helpful also with my current job now, because I really learned to say, no, I really cannot do this. Please figure it out on your own or ask someone else, because yeah, otherwise you drown into your work.
Both are, of course, good points. So Mario was telling us about finding your place. Yeah, that is important, definitely, and a very good example which Mario gave. And he also told us that sometimes it helps you in finding the next job after graduating, which is very true. A lot of you, if you really work hard and there is a need for your type of personality or what you can do, then it is a chance that you will get hired. So thanks, Mario, for that. And Lisa explained us that maybe sometimes saying no is a strategy, but you can make your own opinion how you want to think about that. Personally speaking, I would appreciate people who would say yes to many things. But then Lisa has her own experience. Maybe she was saying yes in the beginning, but then there was too much work for her, so she kind of decided to say no. So both strategies are fine. Yes, Anway, go ahead, please.
I would say team management is equally important. Like I learned from, time management equally important. What I have learned from my internship, because I had a lot of tasks when I was doing my internship, and there were deadlines for each individual task. So I had to manage my time equally and do those tasks at the given deadlines. Finish those tasks at the given deadlines. That's what I
Yeah,
found important.
very good. Time management and those type of things very important. Yes, Lee, please go ahead.
What I think I learned most is how much fun work can be when the colleagues are great and you have a great team and your boss is appreciating, and how much this environment is affecting your job. It's not about finding the perfect fitting job and the job that pays you the most and stuff like that, but also the team and the boss makes a huge point of that.
Very good point. So I think we should think about that when we are looking for work and so on. Lee learned from her internship that it is not all about money and what would be the benefits. It is the type of people you are working with. Are those people going to give you chance? Are they going to encourage you? How they will react? How they will create space for you? As Mario said, that finding your place is important. So how that company is going to help you find your space, that is, I think, very important. Yes, next one. Want to say something? Lisa, friends.
So during my internship, I lived together with 3 other interns, and we were all really different types of personalities. And I really learned how important it is to be tolerant and try to like deal with people that have a really different mindset and outlook on life than you, and because you can't change them, so you have to accept them and just try to accommodate both needs. I think that's really important.
Excellent point, friends. Just like always, thanks for that. Yeah, so let me complete my experience of internship, first internship. So last point I was making is that he asked me how my work is, and I said I'm enjoying it, loving it, and everything. But there is a document I'm looking for the last couple of days, and I'm running up and down, and no one is giving me, and whatever, I can't find it. So he said me which document, what it is about. So I told him that this is the document and I want it. He said, don't worry about it. You will get it. So I said, yes, okay. So before I knew, he gave me the document. Before I knew, it was just like blink of my eyes. Uh, and it was the file, the document was he gave me the hard copy of the document, and from the way it was looking, that it was really somewhere deep inside the closets or cupboards or wherever they would put their files. So but he was able to find that thing. So at that point I said, one thing which is equally important, sometimes more important, is networking, making friends at work, networking. That is very important. People who know you, that many times very becomes very important. Because think about it, if you get into some difficulty and that person uh, knows you, it is easier for them to let you go, uh, uh, or to help you in any situation, any circumstance. So from my internship, because I went with the mindset that I will just work hard and I will just spend all the time on work and maybe not spend my time with talking with people and all those type of things. That is the mindset I went into. But I learned in that internship that yes, that is important, you should work hard and focus on work, but you need to network also. And that the reason I shared that point with you guys is that see how vast this the it's really international community. You guys are in this room, it is international community in all sense of the words. People from diverse experiences, diverse backgrounds, diverse countries, diverse languages, they are here. So take time to network, know people. Yes, it takes time to know people and so on, but it is worth it, because knowing at the end of the day in international trade, the success is many time is going to be dependent on how people view you. So if you are friendly with those people, they are of course going to give you a little better ranking than others. And this is not just true for international business or international trade. I think generally in life also, it is important. Very smoothly we are trying to come to the conclusion of our engagement for the week. So this is the video I want you to see, and then please watch this video and make notes, and then we will try to close our session with the question that what it really takes to become successful in international business. That is the question. What it really takes to be successful in international business. What do you think? In a line or two, you are going to tell us that. But after watching this clip, so the international business I have selected is Lego. I hope you guys are familiar with that. I am pasting that link in the chat also, so you guys can watch it to listen to a better voice quality. But I am also going to play it here. So depend on you which side you want to watch. It is like 17 minutes long clip. So we're going to watch it, and right away we will jump into the question: what it takes to be successful in international business, and what did you learn from watching this exciting story. Please watch and enjoy.
Teaching children to explore, experience, and express their own world, a world without limits. And we are still convinced that only the best is good enough, because children deserve the best.
Excellent, very good. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching the clip. What do we take away from this clip as you watched it? What are some of the lessons you can take from this clip? What do you learn from this clip? What do you think? What it takes to become successful in international business management? Anything on those lines, if you can say, that would be very nice. Yeah. Yes, Jonas, please go ahead.
I think the most interesting thing was that you always, what I learned is that you always have to learn from failures, and maybe they set them back, but you have to come back stronger than before. Otherwise, you have to use these negative things that happen to give you inspiration, and that's how you can grow. That's what I learned from the video.
Excellent point to learn from failure. See how many times he got set back, how many times his company or his production house got fired. A couple of times. Imagine that you build something from scratch and it get fired and everything is destroyed. How you will find that courage, that determination to start everything back? It really takes a lot of effort. So learning from failures, very nice. Next one. Anyone can go, please.
And first of all, maybe learn from other people too, because I know the son always took his father as a role model, and they also said, you know, like father, like son.
Yeah.
And son, yeah. And then also, don't be afraid to try out something new. So, for example, I mean, you know, he was building toys, and then all of a sudden he built an airport. So that too, and also once you're already successful or something, you still cannot stop. You have to improve continuously, and you know, continuously search for, you know, improvements, trends, and so on.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Please make note of that in international trade. Continuous improvement, always looking out for new thing. As our friend explained us that he was doing fine. He was but he then started train and then started aeroplane and stuff like that. And you know, they are still growing if you are looking at the company and all the things mentioned in the video. That's not lie. That is true story. That is what happened. Yeah. Next one, please.
Yeah, so as we basically already said, like it is crazy actually that they built an airport because of the idea of toys for kids, but that really demonstrates how there are no limitations in the world, like no limitations at all. You basically can do whatever you want, and it could sound so weird and like impossible for others, but there will always be a way if you if you just love what you do. And they believed so much in the product that burned down all the burdens they had, and they could just grow out of that, and that was really nice to see from that story.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Yes. Yeah, keep going, guys. So the question is that what did you learn from watching this clip, and generally speaking, what are you taking away? What would it take to be successful in international business, in international trade?
Sorry, my micro did not work.
That's
So now it works. So what I learned from the clip was also, I think it's good to save money, but it's not good to save it if it decreases your quality. So that was the son was trying to do, but his father told him it's important to stick to quality.
Yes, very good. Anna was really looking deep into the clip, and thanks for that, Anna. So dad likes some machinery which is going to make quality stuff. So he calls his son and he asks that, what do you think? And the son says, well, it's a good idea, but it is very expensive. But dad goes out and buys that. So, yeah, quality is one thing which in the short run you can do the things the way you, but in the long run, if you want to be really successful, you have to be mindful of these type of things. Very good. Next one, please.
So I think it shows the importance of making bold decisions, because you could see that at first he decided to found his own business, and then when it was good, he decided to buy this machine for plastic molding, and then he finally decided to drop the whole wood toy line and just focus on the Lego system. So that shows he wasn't afraid of risk and just making that decision. And I think especially international business, these like unique decisions can really set you apart from your competitors, and you shouldn't be afraid to make them to stand out.
Very good, very good. And many times, your decision would be wrong. Many times it will not come out the way you wanted it to come, but that is what it is. Next one, please.
Yeah, I think it really clearly showed that a strong vision is so important if you want to be successful, and also if you want to be successful even through hard times. Like the workshop burned down twice, but they stuck to their vision, and they stuck to their vision over different generations even. So I think that just supports the strength of that vision. Also, like what we talked about earlier, the networking point, he met so many people that he talked to, and that kind of gave him new ideas, and that was the way he generated new ideas, by talking to people, different points of views. So that's a really valuable point as well, I think.
Very good, excellent. And if you guys recall, that is how we started our week. How to get good ideas. At that time, when I was talking about that, I'm sure many of you might have thought that what that topic has to do with international trade, idea generation. Where do good ideas come from? What is the link with international trade? I'm sure many of you might have thought. But think about it now. At the end of the day, it is all about ideas, be it international trade or be it anything in life. And in the same point as our friend explained, please read the comment which Huang made in the chat. Please look into your chat. Huang is saying, if you are doing what you like, what you love, then you will keep going and succeed because you have strong passion. So we read these type of things, but that is why that question was raised. Do you really know what you want to do with your life? What type of work you really want? Because if you really find that out, then chances are that you are going to be great success. Next one, please.
Yeah, I think it's very important to never give up, and also to appreciate the little steps and be. And so, as he, for example, traded in his toys for food, for example, and I think so. Sometimes you have to be patient and not wait for the big money.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Very good. Very good.
What Lego shows, and we've seen that in the previous lesson with Gillette also, is that they really focus on the customer. So in Lego, they're really focused on the children. So first of all, they only make like wooden toys, and then they're thinking, kids want to be creative. They want to, they really get their minds to like, what do kids really want to do? What do they want? So they started making the toys that you can build, and then the children were unhappy because the toys, just like when they moved it around, the toys didn't stick. So they changed that too, for because children wanted that, and so on. So they really focused on the customer and who actually uses their toys.
Excellent, and I love the way you explained the concept there. And think about it. Yes, they were trying to make money. Yes, they were trying to be successful, but not really. They were also very much interested in making their product very good. They were really interested and involved with the product development, improving it, understanding children needs, thinking from their lens, and eventually, yes, are very successful, and money will come, you know. So money will come on its own time when it has to come. To be rich or not to be rich, a lot of factors are involved. Those things many times are not in our hands also. But what is in our hand is our passion, our commitment, our determination, our, you know, how much we are going to put into the thing, how much effort we are going to put into the thing. If we are going to do something, how much we are going to go in that. So very important to reflect on these pointers. Yes, please, Henry.
Okay, so I think that in general, in international business, it's good to have relationships, and I think you can always see that also on the video when, for example, he met the wholesaler, or also this guy on this ferry. You know, through those people, he got a new idea. And in general, if you have these connections, maybe they can help you out in some way. So maybe they have connections to another country abroad, or something like that, people abroad, and then overall you have a much broader network of people that can work with you.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So I hope you are able to watch the clip and link it with what we have been doing and try to really understand what international trade, what international business is really about, and maybe, you know, maybe take some lifelong lessons through the discussions which we have been having throughout the week, and maybe draw your own conclusions and see where things fit in your life and so on. So that was the example I wanted to, you know, show you. One more example is Audi. Uh, you might like the company, you might not like the companies. We are not trying to promote Audi or any other company. It is just that what it takes to make be good in international business, international trade. So these are two clips which I think you should watch. Even now you can watch them. I am posting the link in the chat. It's a short clip, 3-minute clip. As talking, you can run that clip also and see what it is about, what it really takes to make international quality product and so on. What type of testing, what type of rigorous work these companies put in. And I'm just showing you these examples, you know, these, and if you look around any business which has been really successful in the international market, you can look it up and see what. During my conversations, one of the friends, he asked the question that how Japanese companies uh, become very successful in US markets. Because I asked that, let me know, you know, if you are interested in talking about anything for this course. So he asked this question, and I kind of liked it very much. So think about it: culture, different culture, Japanese culture different, US culture different. So how these companies from Japan and these countries go in other places and become successful. So for that, I've selected the case of Toyota as let me share the screen so you can see where I am. So this is where I was. So in the conclusion thing, when you will click that, you will see this, and on the top you are seeing the Lego story which we just spoke about. Then these are the clips. Audi, do watch them. They are short clips. And then this is what I'm talking about now, Toyota. So you can watch this clip and see this one explains that why Toyota is the best car manufacturer in the world in terms of quality, durability, and so on. I'm aware that, you know, there are other brands and you guys love them, for example BMW and so on. But as we spoke, in cars, if you are looking for different things, different brands are on the top. So but in this one, the idea is that how a company like Toyota, they became successfully in opposite markets, for example US and all over the world. They are known for their reliability, durability, quality. Things might not stay same. Of course, the durability of these type of things are going down because of the thing that we are involving a lot of more and more technologies in the car. So it is difficult to maintain them. Yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is. International trade. Uh, I'm almost at the verge of concluding this engagement with you guys, and I was thinking that how should I conclude my engagement with you? What are the last thing I should leave you with? You guys are very smart, and you guys know things already. I learned a lot of things from you guys, your discussions. I am sure that you also learned a lot from your colleagues. I hope that this type of dialogue keeps on going wherever you go, in your communities, in your circle. This type of engagement keeps on going, and you keep on learning, because as one of the friends mentioned, that it is about continuous improvement. These companies, these international businesses, they have reached where they are because they were never complacent. They kept on going and going and going and going. And you can look at different, in for example, a couple of friends showed those clips from marketing, from advertisement in yesterday's session. They showed that those clips. They showed uh, uh, one of them was like sports, something related with sports. They were not giving up. Nike advertisement, I think it was, or some other companies. I don't really remember. So those type of things. So that is, I think, what what you should think about. And as I close, I would like to close with this. Uh, Let me share the screen with you guys, and please reflect on this. Uh, this is a poem which I read, and it inspired me. So I hope it inspires you also in one way or another. The name of the poem is If. Yeah. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you had liked to win but think you can't, it is almost certain you won't. If you think you will lose, you have lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It is all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You have got to think high to rise. You have got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles do not always go to the stronger or faster person, but sooner or later, the person who wins is the one who thinks they can. Yeah. So please think about this. With this, I close my semester. That is it for our official engagement. Thank you very much.